Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Can you all see and hear me, by the way? Let me just make sure everyone's in there. Elaine Mook, Stafford John Bandit, 600, hiya. Are you all tuning in? Let's see how many people have tuned in. Don't forget, sharing is caring. And I will talk about a few other bits and pieces in a sec. Is there a 5B5? Can you see and hear me? Just to make sure you can see and hear me. It is going live. I think it's going live on YouTube as well. Juicy and Lucy. Who else is there? Just to make sure everyone's aware of this. Now, evidently I've been sent some sort of present. It hasn't been delivered here. There's no note here to say it's been delivered to this address or that address. So I don't know if someone's took it in. They haven't knocked on my door and told me yet. Just to make sure everyone's aware of that. And I don't know anyone. I know the neighbours, but I don't really know them. I don't know their names. And I can't really go around knocking on people's doors saying you've got a parcel for me. They start thinking I'm a lunatic. Just to let you know. Let me have a look. Good evening, Patriot family, everyone out there. Elon Musk. Evening all. So, tomorrow I'm going to be out most of tomorrow during the day. So, hopefully, if I can kick my sleeping patterns back into normal behaviour, I have literally just had bought a new squeezer for me lemons. Really simple squeezing thing. So, just to let you know. Right, shall we get on with this show? There is a guy, and what I'm going to do is bring up all of the links are in the page below, right? So I'm going to show you this because I think it's really important. People who don't know who this guy is, originally he is English. He moved to America 55 years ago. He comes from Lancashire. And I am going to be showing some. Now, I've covered him and the events surrounding him and his wife. Really lovely lady who's proper stuck by him. He was running a magazine in America called Vdare. And if people don't know who Vdare or is as a person, it was a little baby born, the first English baby born in America. And her name was Virginia Dare. And that is why the website was called Vdare, because it's all about Americans being white. And it's not about technically about white supremacy or anything like that. It's about people wanting to live with their own people, their own faith, their own culture, their own way of life, and people being guided to that. So many other people in European countries left the Europe, when I say Europe, I mean mainland Europe, and wanted in effect an English life. If you go back in history, you will see, as I have said on many occasions, and I'm going to bring up his Substack. He's got 20,000 followers. That's him at the top there. He went and bought a castle. I can't remember how much it was. It might have been a few $1 million, but and the reason why they bought the castle was because their events and their speaking events kept getting cancelled. So that's one of the reasons why I want to make sure everyone knows about the Dunes complex. I'm not suggesting Paddy is a Peter Brimelow, but Paddy from the Dunes complex in Maplethorpe can see that there is a need for people to be able to come along and speak and tell people what it is that they're seeing, etc. Now, there's a few parts of what I'm going to go into tonight. And by the way, Peter Brimelow celebrated Richard E. Lee's birthday. So I just want to make sure everyone's getting what's going on there. So there is more to this, and what I want to do now is show you, hopefully. Is everyone seeing this, by the way? Can everyone see what's on the screen now? Let me have a look. Weren't they rejected by the local town and the movement wrapped up? The movement's not wrapped up. The movement is still there, by the way. I did a video about this, I think about 2 years ago. Someone, if you put Vdare, if you go to Rumble and you go to my channel and you put Vdare, Peter Brimelow, or just Vdare, you should see when it was I brought it up and was talking about him. Right, so it's good that Tucker is now interviewing people that I've spoken about as being, you know, this guy was talking about immigration in the 90s and saying there's a serious problem. But with this particular interview, so again, the links are in the description of this video. Again, it's not often that I say this. Let me just go, because I've got a dripping tap and it's annoying me. It's not often that I say to people, this is a video or this is a podcast. I had to watch it 2 or 3 times. I've got to be honest with you. I will watch it the 3rd time tonight, right? Because he is talking about things and in the past that all fit in. I'm going to play some of this to you. There are some crucial bits. I don't know whether to play directly from Tucker Carlson or from Twitter, but it's really important that everyone understands this. Again, this is a broader subject of this. I mean, he says that he is being suppressed or shadow banned, the same as I am, by the way. And bearing in mind, I got to just under 10,000 followers on Twitter and they took me out, right? And that was Elon Musk that did that. With no explanation, didn't tell me why, and all we stand for is self-determination. It is now coming up, I think I'm up to something like 6,000 something. So again, it's really important to get these messages out to understand why it is that they would take me down. Now go and have a look at some of these other people, right? And I'm not going to mention any names that have got 100,000, 150,000, 50,000 followers. They're allowed to be promoted because they won't directly challenge what we challenge, right? And what we challenge is, in this order, the Jewish mafia and the British, right, who were aligned. And all that's really happened now, and again, I'm going to read out an email I sent in reply to someone. It took me a little while to, and it may sound a bit, I think I need to read it to you because there's so much to this. It takes a lot of thinking about, and most people can't think about the strategy that has been in place for decades, if not well in excess of a century, right? Without any doubts whatsoever, there is an organised conspiracy against particular white Gentiles, right? That means us, and especially Protestants, right? And it also means moderate, what I describe as moderate Catholics. What is a moderate Catholic? It means not a Jesuit, is the answer. And the Jesuits, everyone should understand that Anthony Fauci, for what he did in COVID, got an award of the Jesuits, right? A global award for what he did. You need to start asking yourself what the fuck is going on, and bearing in mind, Stalin went to a Jesuit school, right? A lot of people say he was Jewish. In fact, he wasn't Jewish, but he was educated by the Jesuits. It would help if we all wore our official badges. Let me have a quick look. I don't know what's going on in there, so I'm going to go back to this main screen. Now, as long as you can all hear me, right, so this is the Tucker Carlson video. Bearing in mind Tucker Carlson has got 16 million followers, right? 30 years ago, William F. Buckley banished Peter Brimelow from Conservative Inc. for saying that immigration was destroying the country. Turns out Brimelow was right? So, and again, don't forget, go back to when I was 16 years old in Welling and was on a march against, by the way, with an English flag, not a British one, against mass immigration. That was in 1980. Right, so just to make sure you're all aware of that. It's time to rethink immigration is the first part of it. How William Buckley Jr. stabbed Brimelow in the back. Why did Ben Shapiro attack Brimelow? Right, now that's a really good, anyone knows this guy, it's worth looking at this part, right? So I'm going to bring it up on the screen and play it.
I was watching Ben Shapiro on
Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly, yes. And he was attacking you for some reason or other, I forget what. And he was saying that, then he suddenly says, but Tucker's good on some things, he's good on immigration. Well, as I understand that, you're interested in the idea of immigration moratorium and so on.
Of course.
This is news to me. That's what Ben Shapiro thinks is good about immigration.
Right. Well,
I mean, just about 5 or 6 years ago in National Review, he called me a white supremacist, for no other reason than advocating immigration reduction. And those days, back in the early days, if you advocated immigration control, you're immediately suspect. You're immediately suspect of being anti-Semite, even though there's no direct connection at all. And now they've changed their mind on this. They've fallen back. I mean, Norman, before he died, I was very friendly with Norman. He didn't talk to me for the last 10 years of his life. But he died just a few weeks ago at the age of 95. But just before he died, he gave an interview in which he said he changed his mind on immigration. He thought there was a limit to how much immigration could be absorbed. And he credited John O'Sullivan, the editor of National Review, for helping change his mind. He didn't mention me.
Why didn't he speak to you for the last 10 years of his life?
Well, I think he just decided that I was a suspicious character. And I deviated on the immigration issue, and he suspected. I had the habit of calling the National Review the Goldberg Review, because at that stage, briefly, it was dominated by Jonah Goldberg, who I think is a complete fraud and lightweight, and of course was absolutely boneheaded on the immigration issue.
Well, he's certainly a lightweight. It's hard to know what he believes or doesn't, but he's certainly, I mean, if Jonah Goldberg is like your intellectual force, then you've been degraded.
Well, Norman actually emailed me and said, you've got to stop calling National Review the Goldberg Review because it sounds anti-Semitic. Actually, my understanding is that Goldberg is not technically Jewish. His mother was a Gentile. So I
knew her. She was a great person,
right.
Actually.
I replied and said that, and he didn't get back to me. But he just gradually suspected more. He suspected me more and more of thought crime. Norman was an extremely passionate man. He didn't.
So famously.
He didn't socialize with opponents. I miss him. I really liked him. I was sorry that.
No, there was a lot about him that was appealing. Right. He was a man of great energy, and I admired him in a lot of ways. Kind of repulsive in others, but certainly he was not standing still. He was constantly in motion, and I
actually owe his wife Midge Dexter a lot, because she was the chair thing of the Philadelphia Society, and which is a conservative affinity group. And she invited me to speak on immigration.
Yes.
In I guess 2005, and that's where I met my first wife had just died, and that's where I met my current wife Lydia, who of course was running the Vdare Foundation with me. She was the publisher of Vdare.com, and you've had her on, of course.
Oh, of course, and I'm a fan. She's a brave woman and a smart one. May I ask what happened to your relationship with Bill Buckley?
When he fired.
Right, let me go into Bill Buck pushed out National Review. Is Israel ethno state? There's so much of this that it is all worth watching. Right? How was Trump able to win over the white working class? What does America futures look like? Will Department of Justice help Brimelow? Is Brimelow hopeful for the future? Right, so we'll probably go for this one now. Touch wood. Let me make sure. Israel is Israel an ethno state?
The problem, of course, is that he's caught in this bind because he doesn't want to admit that Israel is an ethno state, because he doesn't want America to have ethno state. He wants them to be a civic nationalist state.
What do you mean won't admit? I mean, Israel is by its own description an ethno state.
Yeah, but he keeps arguing that
that's not an attack, by the way, at all.
Well, I've never been able to get him to explain how you cannot say that there's a racial component to Israel when of course the Jewish religion is racially based. I mean, that's why they have the matrilineal principle where you've got to have a Jewish mother, and I've never seen him respond to that. And I don't think he can, because he doesn't want to encourage straight up white nationalism in America.
For years, you've been told this is not happening, and you're a bigot for thinking it is. But it is happening. Mass migration is reshaping the West completely. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Different people live here now. You're not a racist for noticing that. You're just using your senses. Again, it's not a theory. It's the biggest fact of this or any generation in 1,000 years. The replacement is real. European governments aren't just tolerating mass migration, they're encouraging it, they're funding it. They hate their populations and they want new populations. We've got a new documentary on this called Replacing Europe, following the world's deadliest migration route. Our filmmakers follow what nobody wants you to see. They spoke directly with migrants, locals, officials who admit what the public is never told. It's not ideological. It's reality. This is happening. It's destroying the West, and our cameras caught it. Replacing Europe. That's the doc, only on TCN now. I just want to be clear about my own views, not that it matters, but just because I hold them sincerely. I have no problem with the fact that Israel is an ethno-state. It's their country. You have whatever state you want, as far as I'm concerned. But it is an ethno-state.
I've just got to stop there and just say, don't forget Liberia in Africa. Liberia in Africa, you cannot be a citizen, so you can live there, you can work there, but you cannot be a citizen, and you cannot be in any form of power, election, police, any of the civic elements of Liberia, unless you are a Negro, right? Just to make sure, and Liberia was set up to allow slaves that wanted to leave various places around the world and go, and they didn't know where they come from, so they went to Liberia, right? Just to make sure everyone's aware of that.
By definition, the people who founded it were not religious. A lot of them were atheists, and they identified as Jewish racially. Again, no, I have no problem with that at all. That's their country. But to say it's not an ethno-state is not only a lie, but it's like a ludicrous lie. And he won't admit that?
That's my reading of what Zoni is saying. But it's one of the situations where his civic nationalism is so intense that it might just as well be ethnic nationalism for the US. And a lot of things he says about immigration to the US are excellent.
Yeah, right, I agree. And I'm not attacking Yoram Hazony at all, whom I like. But that's dishonest because Israel is an ethno-state. And you should just tell the truth especially about obvious things, right?
Well, it's what Orwell calls doublethink, isn't it? It's doublethink. You've got to believe two contradictory things at once, and it's necessary to operate in large parts of the political world.
Right. So I want to stop this again. Now, think of Tommy Robinson. Think of his position where he keeps saying he's not a racist, not a racist, and not a racist, not a racist, right? And this isn't to do with being racist, right? My position on this has always been the same. I don't support Israel. And the reason I don't support Israel is because Israel has never supported England. In fact, it is attacking England. And again, there's many other things that I can put forward. I do want to let me ask the audience. There's a couple of other clips of this I want to show. Are you all seeing this and understanding? Bearing in mind, I have covered this gentleman on this show before. I can't remember. Someone will probably say how long ago it was. We'll do a search of my channel, and you can see I actually contacted them as well. Right? They're great people. So let me just make sure. Thank you, Patriots. We just need 30 sort of thumbs up until we. Yeah. So don't forget, hit the like button. Really crucially important. Share, because sharing is caring. And the other thing I want to make sure that you all understand is subscribing is crucial, right? Because we need to take this platform and this channel well in excess to 10,000 this year. But we need to cross over so you sharing it and asking people to subscribe gets this message out, right? And again, I'm grateful to Tucker Carlson for showing this, right? He shows good and bad. This is one of the good guys. And again, what I was so impressed with is he's lived in America for 55 years. My understanding, he's got a twin brother over here. But he's lived in America for 55 years. He's 78 years old. He didn't really get into what he's talking about now until the 90s, and he realised something was going severely pear-shaped. Highly intelligent man, an analyst, and he worked for Forbes, I believe it was, and a couple of others. And he's just telling people the truth, right? And again, there is a documentary on Tucker Carlson, which I will try and watch tonight, right? But everyone needs to understand. I'm going to go through a few other things in a minute, but as long as you're happy with me showing you this, I only show you these things because this is not being promoted to you on mainstream media. It will not be promoted to you by the likes of Tommy Robinson, right? Because the truth of Tommy Robinson is now being highlighted. You can't, on one hand, say, I support an ethno-state of Israel, and then say, I do not support the ethno-state of England, right? And the English. And remember, all of these nations of the West are speaking English, right? Just make sure everyone's, the way I see it, God wanted these people to come together. He didn't want them to be, he wanted them to be separate nations. Jesus Christ fought against the Roman Empire. The positive is if we have one language to communicate in, and it's not the French, it's English, right? So I just want everyone to understand that. Ron is the best plant for truth, and allow that. So again, I'm going to go back and show you a couple of other things now I've seen that. What's that? Johnny Toby. Please be mindful of comments in YouTube. Many thanks, guys and girls. Yeah, YouTube is not the place to be. It is actually run by the Jewish ethno-nationalist state. And that's a fact, right? That's why they stop me in particular, but anyone else talking about England, I have noticed. So I just want everyone to understand something else. There are a number of attacks coming. Some of you, I'm not going to mention who they are, towards me, and specifically on YouTube. When you start to see that, you know you are winning. It isn't something that makes me whimper away. It actually bolsters my resolve to keep going forward, because it means we're making a difference. That people have started to realise the English are a race. The Anglo-Saxon English are a group of people. We are highly intelligent. We are working people. We are God's people. And by God, I mean Jesus Christ, God, and Christianity, right? That is why we are under attack. If you go to Israel and you are a Christian and stand in the street and start to evangelize Christianity, Jews spit at you. If you say the word Jesus Christ or the name Jesus Christ, they spit at you, and you can think yourself lucky if you're not sent in to prison, right? So just to make sure. Now, the problem that they've got now is they have to come, and I'm going to get to this later on. People need to understand that another guy left Manchester. He is now the personal advocate of Donald Trump. He is, so in other words, his personal lawyer, who has started to promote the fact that America needs to now allow British Jews asylum in the United States of America because of rising anti-Semitism, right? Now, I want to make sure everyone's aware of this. If there's a rise in anything in Great Britain, it is the knowledge that England and its constitution and its people is being destroyed systematically, specifically by regions. And the groups of people that are leading that are Jews or the Jewish mafia, whatever you want to describe them as. They're in the positions that allowed this and ushered it in, right? That's fact, not fiction. Why? Again, if you listen to the whole of this video, Peter himself says, I really don't understand why. I think they've started to realise they've made a mistake, right? Because Peter himself says he's not an anti-Semite. I'm not an anti-Semite. What I am is anti-organised political crime, which is what we're talking about, and that is led by the Jews, right? For whatever reason they're doing it, whether it's the banking system, whether it's to enslave you through debt, whatever that is,
white vote.
Why do you think that was?
Which part of it?
That he was able, working class whites love Trump. Trump is not a racist. I've never seen any sign of that at all, and not a white nationalist at all, and hardly a Christian nationalist. But he, for some reason, had an emotional connection with these voters. Why? Do you know?
There's a concept in sociology called implicit community, communities that represent or appeal to some people without actually saying it explicitly. The classic example.
The Dunes complex is so important in Maplethorpe because that guy said, I'm pulling out of this system. I can see what's going on, and anyone who wants to talk at my venue can talk. And you bring your own camera equipment, you sort out the venue, and the venue is there. That is what it's there for, right? I'm just telling you, don't forget we've got our event and seminar coming up in Maplethorpe in June. I want you to understand this guy actually went and bought a castle so he could hold the events there, right? Because he was being cancelled. Then look at what they do to us. We got cancelled in Epping. We've been cancelled in Sussex. We've been cancelled in all these different places, right? As soon as you mention the English, they shut you down. Why? It's because of the implicit we are. And when you go and have a look at the 2011 census, what do you see from the census? 57%, 32.4 million people in England believe they're English only national identity, no other identity, right? Mixed with a British, right, which just means they're confused, right, is 67%. Think about that value. Now think about the national state of Israel, right? They're all different people, but there's one thing in common. As Jews, right, their mother was Jewish. They are building an ethno state in Israel. That is exactly what they're doing. Now, I haven't got a problem with an ethno state as long as you're being honest and not destroying. We're the good guys. The English are the ones who said common law. The English are the ones who created a constitution. Our English ancestors were the ones who stopped women in this country being raped, right? First Statute of Westminster, 1275. So when are you going to listen to the English? And when are you going to understand that the British are the enemy, right? Ran over.
With NASCAR, for example. Why is NASCAR a white stronghold? Or everybody watching NASCAR is white. And the NASCAR operatives don't like this. And
they hate it.
Yeah. They're constantly trying to diversify. Republican Party is a classic example of this. I mean, without ever doing anything to deserve it, the Republicans have become absolutely unbeatable in Virginia. And you and I both remember then when Democrats were unbeatable in Virginia. You know, I forget when the last I always keep forgetting when the last Republican Democrat to carry West Virginia was, but it might have been Clinton. And now it's just the Democrats have ceased to exist in West Virginia, even though this is a very poor state. But Republicans prevailed simply by virtue of not being Democrats.
Bill Clinton lost California in '92 and won West Virginia. That's how much has changed.
Yeah, right. So there's something that's going on at a very deep psychological level, some kind of implicit signaling. It's baffling. Now, of course, he did say, when he came down the elevator and said just a few words about Mexico, about Mexican immigration, and never looked back. So he obviously struck a nerve there. So he did enough to strike a nerve, and simply by raising immigration in the sort of rather.
I just want to stop it there again and make sure that I express this to everyone. Do you remember when I said about the onion model and the layers of the matrix, right? So a layer of the matrix, as they built it, was the European Union. The next layer was the British Union. The next layer, you have to break through the British Union to get to English, right? And it's really important that they are putting so much effort into the propaganda, and they have done for over 100 years, that you are British, you are British. You need to accept that you are British so they can remove your ancestry as an English man or English woman, and therefore the rights that were afforded to you, not only by our ancestors, but by God, right? That is what's going on. That's why I am coming under attack from various different people on YouTube, right? They are showing their true colours. I have always been the same, going back to a 16-year-old. I am English. I am English. I am English, right? That's the bit you need to look out for.
I'm sure it drives Stephen Miller crazy, incoherent and peculiar, and just constantly forgets his lines and says the wrong thing way that Trump does talk about immigration. But he did raise it, and of course, until then, it's been driven out of Republican politics completely. I know we wrote about it for 16
you
years.
were fired over it, right?
Just there's almost no sign that any Republican would pick it up.
Right. So he used to write about this, and he was fired for talking about it. Think about how many times I've been fired from jobs because I stood up as an Englishman and for Parliament, and look at them now attempting to bankrupt me for standing up against crooked elections, right? These people, and this guy on the screen now is telling you the truth. Gerard Taylor is telling you the truth, and he emphasises that he grew up as a baby to a 16-year-old in Japan, right? He speaks fluent Japanese. He has never, ever attacked the Japanese. In fact, he admires the Japanese culture, even though it is alien to his own to a large extent. But he understands what is going on. The problem you've got are these other people, and especially and people are following them. And I'm not having a pop at these people, but Nick Griffin, he still talks about British, right? Drop the British. It is a layer that you need to punch through, and the only way England, Scotland, and let me go on to something else because I think this is important, right? So I'm going to stop my share. Can everyone see and hear me? I've no doubt I've been taken off. Why is that not working? Can everyone see me, by the way? Could you see the screen? Oh, let's see if I'll come back up. Hopefully you can hear me. Right, what I've got to do is shut that one down. All right. Did you lose the screen? I can hear you now, but not see you, DD. Right. Right. So all I've done is just revamp that, come back up and come back in again. You may have muted. Can you hear me now? Hopefully you can hear me. See and hear me. Right. Do you all understand what I'm getting at now? No, we can't see you. That have been allowed to happen under an English Parliament up and down in England. England for the English. Right, can you all see me again now? Right, I'm back. Right. Now what I'm going to attempt to do, 5B5 now, Jeff Williams, Sam Pink Panther, Holy England. Rob Young, 5B5. The Union was always based on destroying England. Is the answer. Let me make sure that I go back into a few other things here. Right, hang on a minute. No sound. Have you been booted off? Oh, that was at 2034. Was you not hearing me then? Gone again. More your camera ain't working. Black screen. I reckon something to do with the camera and sharing on computer. Can't see a DD. We missed half the rant. Fine for me. Try a refresh. Have been refreshing constantly. Everyone else is saying they can't see DD either. So did I go off for the entire... That is really strange what's going on there. But again, I don't know what to say about that. What I am going to do is go back to this. All right. So I was asked a question earlier on, and it was quite an important. They wanted me to watch a video, which I did. I rarely do it because most of the videos people sent me a bullshit fucking idiots talking about the fucking shite of common law when they don't understand what common law even means. But this is my reply, and so I was asked my opinion by someone I like. And I've got respect for. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll have a look at the video and I'll have a drill down into it, right? But this is what I sent back. I watched most of the video. I agree mostly with what he says. And this was a guy in America. I'm not sure if I can actually bring it up on the screen. Not that knob. This one. This is, so I don't know if people have seen this. He is ex-military. I'm going to show you what it is as I speak. I'll put the video up. So I was asked to watch this video, and I was asked to give an opinion on a few other things. Oh, it's not gone out to everyone. Hopefully this will. All right. Let's see if I can show it. Night Nation on a video is destroying Patriot streamers. Night Nation review on Rumble is destroying. I don't know what that means. Who's Night Nation? I've never heard of them. Common law is the problem. Common law is not the problem. That's quite funny. Anyway, I'm not getting involved. Again, is this a bunch of YouTubers coming on there? Some of the people that watch stuff on YouTube, fuck knows. I don't know how they even keep themselves alive, to be honest with you. That's how fucking stupid some of them are. Right, let me go back and I will show you this particular video, right? This is the video that I was asked to watch, right? So this pastor may offend you. Wake up. Viking Preparedness, 181,000 subscribers. What I liked about this guy, he was very direct, and he said he was a pastor, and when he was a pastor and he had a church and he was talking to his congregation, he actually thought about defending his ex-special forces in America, defending it. He said, if anyone ever come in with a gun into that, because they're all facing the other way, the only person who can face the enemy is him. And he then set up a range in his garden or his house or whatever. He stepped out the range of his church. So as the people come in through the doors of the church, he stepped out from where he was to there, got the exact range, set it up, and then practiced with his firearm. Bang, 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 right? To take them out. But he never told his congregation that he'd done that. But he was always armed, right? So he's talking to his flock, as it were. His faith and his belief in community, and he was the only one who could see the enemy come through the door. And he explains why. He explains all these different things. That said, I'm now going to stop sharing that for a second. I am going to go back and tell you what I said. So I watched most of the video. I agree mostly with what he says. There are pointers to a war in the UK, but it's England predominantly under attack. And outline just three reasons. One, a Protestant religion. Two, constitution and common law. And three, Anglo-Saxon. Right. This almost same thing happened in Russia, USSR, and China, and neither have forgotten. Right. There are pointers to a very real possibility of the multipolar world, China, USA, and Russia. If you think Alberta, the people are standing up, if you look at Alberta, the people are standing up and removing themselves from the communist system of Canada, British rule, as an independent nation. It is massive. Look at their flag, right? It's an English flag, in effect. Elon Musk is removing British Telecom and Virgin as main internet providers, offering good, reliable internet. This is an important move. This is removing the ability of the British communists to censor and give us comms access. This is a prep for civil war with the state. No, Russia is now building their own Starlink system, right? They're well behind, by the way. They haven't even started, but they've said they now know how important it is, right? They know how important it is. Tucker has interviewed Putin and his closest advisor. So you need to go and look at what... I'm not saying to you every single interview that Tucker does is about what we're trying to talk about now, but there's enough of them for him to be putting the stuff in place without having his whole business taken down. That's the first thing. The second thing is to go back to Elon Musk. It seems to be a bit of a joke on Twitter at the moment that Elon Musk has now turned around to Ryanair and said, how much will you sell your company for? I'm going to buy your company. Now, I can see another reason for Elon Musk buying Ryanair. One is because if it's a private held company, it's got everything in place. It's got all the landing rights in place. It's got all the majority that's needed. It's also got aircraft in place. And if he buys it lock, stock and barrel, there's no shareholders. He ain't got to worry about shareholders. He owns it, right? And it could be used as a vehicle for mass deportations to get rid of these people before they off. And it could be used in America or here. But one way or the other, I don't think it's a jokey thing. And if you all remember, it started out as a joke that he was buying Twitter and he was going to rename it. And he is saying he's going to buy Ryanair and rename it. But what will he rename it to, right? So that's the first part of this. USA is now considering British Jews as asylum seekers. This too is important. This happened on the build-up to the Second World War. The Jews have an intense hatred of white Gentiles. If you watch Tucker yesterday, Peter Brimelow, and a few other episodes of Tucker, you're getting more truth. When the Jews are on the move, and I'm talking about the particular, there's three types of Jews, right? There's a Jew like me and you, and then there's another type of Jew that is in effect the Talmud, and opposite sides of the Talmud. One is Zionism, and when I say Zionism, what I'm talking about is literally wiping other people out, and the other side of it is Bolsheviks, right? So the Jews and the Jesuits are the issue, right? So when the Jews are on the move, they have done the damage. Then the killing starts. The Jews are on the move. The Jews and Jesuits are the issue. Stalin went to a Jesuit school. Fauci was given an award for his work in COVID by the Jesuits. Soviet Jews murdered 70 million Christians. This is not new, right? If you want to go back and understand what's going on, there's something else I'll send you in a couple of minutes and you can understand it. Why is Greenland important? Strategic defense of America, but the real target is Canada. The removal of the British. The Jews have finished with the British, right? They've moved on. And that's why you've got AIPAC that has taken complete control of the United States of America, right? This is a Jewish political, criminal, organized crime, right? En masse, right? Play a game called Go, and you'll see the difference in playing chess. Go versus chess is like chess versus draft, right? It's a I keep talking about it because it's different, right? It is a different mental strategy, right? Independent nations, real nations, not unions. Trump has already said the EU was built to destroy and attack the USA as an English dominion, right? If you look at Canada, Quebec is the issue. Look at England, London is the issue. Same playbook as President Xi, when asked was the French Revolution a success, he said it's too early to tell. This is multi-generational plan by the Jews, right? There is loads more. That sort of answers the question, is this real? Yeah, very real. Is it about to go noisy? The level of propaganda says yes. Unfortunately, we are on a massive back foot. Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland and London have been taken. They're already gone. Scotland's gone, Wales is gone, Northern Ireland has gone and London has gone, right? London has fallen. To be honest, it fell in 1899. This is a long-term planning. Look at the history of Greater London Authority. It is the Soviet-style system put in place over decades, if not in excess of 100 years. It is not by chance. 1899, 1999, Ken Livingstone, removal of Middlesex, a key county of England, London as a region of the EU, then the other admin regions being put in place. 9, right? Eliminating England as a country. That's part of it that Rupert don't get. 12 in all, including Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. So in effect, you have now got 3 of the regions, which used to be nations, have already fallen. One other has already fallen, which is the region of London. Now you've got 8 left. That is what they're now pushing out. That is what Andy the Cabby is fighting against with his cab system and what they're putting in place now in Kent and these regions. They are destroying England. That's it. That is what's happening. Does everyone understand what I just said? I know it's a lot to take in. It is very deep. I've got to tell you something. I sit here thinking about it. And you can't, and I'm telling you now, you can't run a business. You can't go out there doing all these other things. You can't have all this other stuff in your life, right? And think about this. This is massive, right? And it's not me expressing... I mean, I chose to do this because I could see it. It was like staring me in the face. And then when you talk to these people, right, you think, I've been saying this since I was 16 fucking years old, right? And who are these people that are doing this? Who are the people that are doing it? It's the fucking British Jews. They've just got themselves a ticket out, right? You're the ones who are going to have to live with this. And you're the ones who are going to have to fight, right? The problem is we've got all these mugs that still think that British is the answer. It fucking ain't. It was put there as a weapon against the English. Even Spike talking to Foreskin. Did you go up the car park and I don't know what that means. The Jews circumvent us with lies. Who's running the media? No, exactly. Who is running the media? Right? So I'm going to show you something else, right? And this is absolutely true. Hopefully I can find it. When I try and find things, it always goes pear-shaped. The delivery went to a house between 54 and 50. A guy called Robbie. He's got a mat outside, a brown door with a brass step. I ain't got a clue. Is the answer? I will go and have a look, but I don't know who delivered that, but there's no note left with me that's for me. Let me have a look. I'm looking at something first. Peter Brimelow. Let me have a quick look and see if I can find this. Commerce stations, Rupert Lowe, Solomon. I'm not even sure if I can show you some of this now. Let me come back off of that. There was a bit here. I've got to go and find this. Was it Selenstein? I think I sent it out today. Let me see if I can send it out and find it on. Great interview. Tucker Carlson. Nowhere English British Jews of Parliament, Jewish Academy. Let me have a look. Is it? Not sure if I've put that out there. Let's see if I can go and find it for you, because it is important. It isn't. Oh, there was a fantastic interview, a couple of interviews that I want to show people. Let's see if I can actually show this. I haven't got it in there. Why isn't it in there? There's lots of things going on in the background, by the way. That this is an absolute masterpiece, and the fact that it will never make it near a classroom. That was Gavin McGuinness who said that. Whites around the world are being eliminated. Let's see if I can. I'm going to try and find it for you, but let me. There was a particular thing where Alexander Selenstein spelled it out, and it was put out there today. But here's another one.
The defining fact of our lives is that whites around the world are being eliminated, and I would like to know why.
The people running the society are anti-white, and they've been able to persuade or intimidate the entire legal system to operate in that anti-white way. Anti-white in this case really means anti-American, because the whites are Americans. The people who signed the Declaration of Independence, that's who Americans are.
Yeah.
The people who signed that, right, and who were they and what were they? Right, now you're understanding what is going on in the background. Here's another one.
Well, I think you should start at a much higher level. Okay. We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum. And the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider, which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery. So if they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
I've got to get people's... what did you think of what he just said there? John Ashmore spoke. You're exhausted, mate. Just don't do dogging. Have a break, mate. I don't know what that means. You can't be... Reeves doesn't have a clue. I saw this today. The EU didn't really agree with him. I see this today. The EU didn't really agree with him. Yeah, no. Hiya, Graham. Can't cover everything. Let me have a look. I find it all confusing and overwhelming. I think the English Constitution is the solution. Am I right? Yeah, you are right. The English Constitution is the solution. But we've got to keep going on and keep doing it and keep working forward. Let's have a quick look and see if I can see something else there. Going among the British. Ancient English. Why do you not mention the street furniture, traffic control weaponry waiting to be triggered, DD? As no one noticed the lasers and cameras at every pedestrian crossing. Of course, and I have mentioned it, and I have mentioned a number of different things. But again, people are out there installing this shit. I've also mentioned the fact that it was mainly controlled by China. And the British were complicit. It was the Americans who ended up stepping in and telling them to drop the contracts with them. So there's lots of things going on in the background, but you can't. And some people and some of these things are so off the charts that if you started to talk about it immediately, people would go, "Wow, where the fuck?" And it would have to be technical. It would go over most people's heads. And the easiest thing is just to talk about England and the English Constitution and everyone understanding the same thing. Let me go back to this one here. So Landor, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood wants to use AI and facial recognition cameras to ensure, in her words, the eyes of the state can be on you at all times. English liberty destroyed by Pakistani. Jewelry Charles destroyed by African. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there's a good one there. Landor, your stance on Greenland, one thing is true. If Europe wasn't such a weak, decrepit, welfare-dependent continent of foreigners and instead had strong militaries, this would not be happening. If you side with the left to weaken your nation, you will be dominated. Let's have a look and see what this one. In some cases, your kids are being propagandized. Yep. Again, I'll just put that out and say everyone should watch that. Well, here's the one where you'll like this one.
And another thing, when you say integration, it comes on the intermarriage too, right? All being together.
Right, sure.
And I'm sure no intelligent white person watching this show, or no intelligent white man in his or her right white mind, want black boys and black girls marrying their white sons and daughters, and in return introducing their grandchildren as half brown, kinky-haired black people.
I wouldn't object to that.
Well, you wouldn't, but a lot of them would.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people know. This is the point.
What I'm trying to say is this. You don't have it. You say you don't, but you don't have it. You really ain't gonna have it. You on the show and you got to say that. But
that's not true.
Why would you want to do that?
Because I don't think I'm any different from you. You see.
Yeah, we much different.
I mean, I think society's made us different.
You know we're different. We're all together.
Society's made us different.
No, not society. God made us different.
No, we're just human beings. He made all of us.
We all listen. Bluebirds fly with bluebirds. Red birds want to be with red birds. Listen. Tell me when I'm wrong. Pigeons want to be with pigeons.
But
tell me when I'm right. We should have. They don't have intelligence, but yet they stay together. We should have more intelligence than them, right? Buzzards are with buzzards. Yeah. Buzzards are with buzzards. Bluebirds are with bluebirds. They all are birds, but they got different cultures. The eagles like to hang out in the mountains. The buzzard like to fly around the desert.
Well,
the bluebird like to fly around the trees and the grass.
There'd be certain problems a buzzard mating with a sparrow, wouldn't there?
What?
There'd be certain.
Right. And we have the problems too.
No,
I don't see no black and white couples in England or America walking around proud, holding their children.
That's because society
and going out.
That's society's fault. I mean, we've got to educate people around it.
Well, life is too short for me to be raised catching hell for something like that. I'd rather go and be my own. I have a beautiful daughter, beautiful wife. They look like me. We're all happy, and I don't have no trouble. I have no trouble. I ain't that much in love with no woman to go through all that hell. Ain't no one woman that good. You understand?
I understand. Yeah, I do understand. I understand. But I think it's sad that
it ain't sad because I want my child to look like me. Every intelligent person wants his child to look like him. I'm sad because I want to blot out my race and lose my beautiful identity. Chinese love Chinese. They love the little slanted-eyed, pretty brown-skinned babies. Pakistanis love their culture. Jewish people love their culture. A lot of Catholics don't want to marry a number of Catholics. They want the religion to stay the same. Who want to spot up yourself and kill your race? You a hater of your people if you don't want to stay who you are. You shame what God made you. God didn't make no mistake when he made us all like we were.
I think that's a philosophy of despair.
Despair.
I really do.
It ain't no despair.
Number
one, can't no woman. Let me tell you something. I want to tell you. Listen, no woman on this whole earth, not even a black woman in Muslim countries, can please me and cook for me and socialize and talk to me like my American black woman. No woman, at last, is a white woman, can really identify with me and my feelings and the way I act and the way I talk. And you can't take no Chinese man and give him no Puerto Rican woman and holler about we in love and you emotionally in love and physically, but really they're not happy because she's gonna hear some Puerto Rican music, he's gonna hear some Chinese music, and they're gonna be clashing all the time. It's just nature. You can do what you want, but it's nature to want to be with your own. I want to be with my own. I love my people. That's all. I don't hate nobody.
I've got to go and see what the audience thought of that. What did the audience think of that? Ali, shut up the British cuck. Ali, shut the British cuck the fuck up. Oh, Google Mummy and I agree. Lefty tosser Parkinson. Yeah, he was. Complete and utter knob. Sue Ellen, indeed. We are being taken in and demolished. What's that? It's beautiful hearing a man speak this way. The thing is, when it shows, and again, I think this is a good time to go back to something else. I want you to listen to something else. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is here, right?
In the Bay Area. And the amount of indoctrination.
We're talking about indoctrination, right? So again, hopefully you can see this. Let me put it back up.
The amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is, I think, far beyond what parents realize. Let me give you an example that a friend of mine told me, which his daughters go to high school in the Bay Area, and he was asking them, like, who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing.
Right.
Like, okay, that's maybe you should know more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slavery is obviously a horrific institution, but we should still know more about George Washington than that. The amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is, I think, far beyond what parents realize. Let me give you an example that a friend of mine told me, which his daughters go to high school in the Bay Area, and he was asking them, like, who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing.
Right.
Like, okay, that's maybe you should know more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slavery is obviously a horrific institution, but we should.
There's so much, like I say, getting through all this stuff. Andy the Gabby got my piece on destruction. Oh, let's have a see of this again as well. Andy the Gabby done really well with it.
Drivers in Thanet say new licensing rules are too harsh, forcing many of them to buy new cars to continue trading. Under council plans, all vehicles over 10 years old will have to be replaced to curb pollution and ensure safety.
But drivers have hit back, saying their well-maintained vehicles are not a danger. Here's Sarah Saunders.
Andy Gifford has been a taxi driver for 15 years. He says new rules on how old taxis and private hire vehicles can be could force drivers off the road and out of business.
We've all been told that we've got 2 years from the 1st of this month to basically get a new car. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to work anymore. I mean, if you look at this vehicle we're in at the moment, it's 12 years old, and the council themselves require it to be MOT'd at a council testing centre twice a year, as well as the standard MOT. So effectively, it's MOT'd 3 times a year. So they are as safe as houses.
My issue is the finances, getting enough a loan out. The drivers, I don't think you're going to get as many drivers going into this, and you're going to have less drivers, harder to get a taxi, more waiting times, and the fares are going to go up.
The new policy adopted by Thanet District Council means for new licence applications, vehicles must not be more than 7 years old, and a maximum of 10 years old for current petrol or diesel vehicles, with exceptions for electric and wheelchair-adapted vehicles. Thanet Council says the changes will improve safety and cut emissions.
We're really glad to see a council taking the lead on reducing the polluting vehicles that are available on the streets, so that we can really tackle the toxic air that we're all breathing in, which is having dangerous effects on people's lung health, developing lungs, but also those living with lung conditions today.
Stephen Thane says some older cars are compliant already.
You know, I put this up against most newer vehicles that gets an emissions test, and it will be compliant as they are. People got to lose jobs, you know, and there's not a lot of work around with that. So why do this? You know, when you've got vehicles that are tested 3 times a year, MOTs for compliance, emissions, etc., why be as hard as what they're being now?
Thanet District Council says the policy was consulted on, updated following feedback, and includes a 2-year transition period to help drivers adjust, saying the policy is in line with government legislation and reflects many of the measures already in place in other areas of Kent. But drivers say without changes, many could leave the trades.
Well, Sarah is at a taxi rank in Ramsgate for us this evening. And Sarah, it's not just Thanet feeling the pressure, is it?
No, it isn't. Here they do hope that some of those conditions will be softened, but there are also concerns that taxi drivers in Sussex could be driven out of the business. Last year, they faced a 50% increase in their licence fee. This year, they face another 50% increase in their licence fee. Now, that's driving drivers there to distraction, because one of the reasons given by the council was that they have to deal with the data costs of CCTV in cabs, which they themselves insisted on. Well, Lewes Council told us they do value the service that taxis offer, and they do take it seriously when they have to consider price hikes, but that this is all about safety for drivers and reflects true costs.
OK, Sarah, thank you.
Mad, isn't it? They're just out to destroy us. Let me have a look at this one. John Solomon. There's another one here that I want to show.
We're starting to see members of Congress who dug into the Somali fraud scandal. James Comer, Rand Paul, even Tom Emmer, the number 3 member in the House, number 3 leader in the House, all saying this was a business model. And the business model goes like this. First, overturn Donald Trump's plan to not count illegal aliens in the census. If you count them, then they go towards apportionment and they go towards federal fund distribution. So the liberals do that first. They reverse Donald Trump's plan to not count illegal aliens in the 2020 census. Then Biden opens the borders. Then the nonprofits, the liberal nonprofits, take taxpayer money and move those illegal aliens from the border to battleground states into blue sanctuary cities. Then they allow them to get on welfare, even though the law says you're not supposed to be on welfare as an illegal alien for 5 years. Then when the fraud starts, because that's the only way to keep these illegal aliens present in the cities, they turn a blind eye to that. Now, every one of those 5 sentences happened. What Comer, what Rand Paul, and what Tom Emmer and several other people are telling me is they're now beginning to see evidence that this was a master scheme, a master plan that the left and maybe some of its allies in foreign countries were working on together. Now, if that turns out to be true, it'll be one of the biggest stories of our lifetime. If the Democratic Party intended to have money stolen, borders broken down, and illegal mass migration into the battleground states to save the Democratic Party during a time when the country was turning more and more conservative, more red, more Trump red, that would be an extraordinary story. There's zero doubt that Congress is investigating it. Those 5 things all happened. If they are able to prove that it was part of a master plan and hold to account those who built the plan, executed the plan, it will be one of the most largest reckonings in American history.
Just to let you know. And yes, you should. let me go back. I need to go back and check a few things. Which one's this one? Right, I'm going back to my main screen. Now, one of the other things that you probably not noticing or not seeing in America at the moment, I can't remember what state it was. I think it was Virginia. They've actually passed a law. The Democrats have passed a law in Virginia that you must only use electronic counting machines. You cannot have a manual count. People might think that's very strange. Well, I'll tell you how strange it is. It means, and this is the key point, it was for the states, I believe, to work out their voting system, not for the federal government. So because the state, the Democrat state, so they're basically making a declaration, that state is making a declaration, we are cheating whether you like it or not, right? And where President Trump has basically said, we are creating a federal law to outlaw all. You must have manual counts. You can't have the Dominion machines. You can't have the Smartmatic machines. You can't have these limiting machines, which is Smartmatic relabeled. They're taking it all out and saying we're going back to that. Now, the problem we got in England and in Scotland as well, and possibly all over Wales, is that the count teams are trained in to commit a fraud against the public. Right? We've already showed that. And whilst it's more difficult for them to do it in every single constituency or every single returning officer, allowing this system to come in where they're bringing these teams that have been trained in the illusion, right, and to create it and create the fraud at the manual count, which is what's going on. That's where the red wall comes from, right? They in America, that method of cheating was exported to the United States of America, and then the Americans scaled it up with the help of Venezuela, and that, by the way, is how London fell. In the main, the final fall of London is the last two terms of Sadiq Khan, right? And they put their machines in place for his last term. And now it is looking like Sadiq Khan could be potentially the next Prime Minister of the UK. So you're seeing everything that's going on. Is everyone understood? And I mean, there's plenty more where that comes from. There's another. I'm going to go back onto Tucker's and I'm going to watch that documentary. Hopefully, I can put some more stuff in. My dad in '60s said, if they keep bringing these people in, signs of 15-minute city rises around travel hub. Town central is called intensify and densify. Yeah. So again, what we're seeing, and again, I just want to reiterate this. It is the white working class, middle class, and what I mean by that is the tradespeople. We're the real powerhouse of the country. We're the real intelligence of the country, because these people who have gone to universities are brainwashed. If you sent your kids to university to learn anything but maths and engineering, in particular, they're the only two exceptions I would make. Because you can't really destroy it. They're about physics and fact, and numbers are numbers. If someone with a mathematical brain, if you try to tell them 2 + 2 is 5, they're going to sit there and say no, it ain't. Whereas when the indoctrination and the brainwashing, which is going on at prep school, at primary school, at secondary school, and then at university, that is a slow march through the institutions, and it originated from academia. That's it, really. Anything else anyone want to know or say or do? Anonymous cat night, God bless. I am going to piss off. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. There'll be more on tomorrow. I'll go and take a look at that documentary. I'm sure it's going to be a good one from Tucker. Looks like the whole team's been over there pulling it together. So where possible, the trade should consider not maintaining council MP and various, yeah, I know what you mean. In other words, any of the people that have related to this, you should be blocking them. So again, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. It's really important, especially I don't know how many people or what it looks like at the moment, but at what we're up to at the moment. Don't forget to subscribe. It's crucially important. Rumble is a different ballgame, right? It is a free speech platform, and we need to get in excess of 10,000 subscribers on here. And I'm hoping to push that forward. And again, let's start seeing if anyone wants to actually listen to what's going on and understand that British is part of the matrix, and you need to push through that. And a lot of these people who suggest they're far right is absolute bollocks. That they have been brainwashed into believing something that is completely untrue. Good night, God bless. Don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. Please check out Brimelow, Danny's record on Mumble. Making sure I didn't get anything else out there.